What's up, guys? It's Brian from Hasher Hub. It's about 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time, January 23rd, 2018. We're coming to you with a brand new trading video. IOTA is the coin of today. We're only going to be speaking about IOTA today, or this video. But first, if you would be so kind to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. If you're on Steemit or DTube, an upvote and or a resteam would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, let's get right into it here. So like I said, IOTA is our poison tonight, and we're looking at a 1 hour chart. It's a little busy, to say the least. Let's look at a 4 hour chart. So lots going on here, and let's start kind of talking through it. So we have this big overreaching Elliott Wave. We're not going to talk about this right now, but let's get this out of the way. Yeah, let's get this out of the way. Next. So what we were thinking was going to be happening here is this ABC correction. And we've said this some time ago. You know, the A doesn't necessarily need to be down here because this is a huge wick. I mean, maybe the A really should be somewhere over here. But I like to put it here because it forces me to prepare. And it forces me to prepare for the worst. So what do I mean by that? If the A is here and this is an ABC correction, then the C should be below the A. It could be the same, and, you know, it could be up here, you know, but I'm preparing for kind of the worst, right? And not that that's my you know, my prediction. That's not the case. But you have to go ahead and you have to prepare yourself for all different types of scenarios. And if you only prepare yourself for one scenario, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose out over time. So we have this ABC correction, and you know what I noticed? I kind of erased everything or a lot of things, and I like to relook at the charts again. And I noticed that the chart has this like fractal nature, and that's what these three boxes are. And you know, it's not actually all that clear, but if you start really studying the chart, you can go ahead and start discerning fractals. And fractals are pretty apparent in cryptos. They're kind of all over the place in cryptos, which is kind of a cool thing to see. They're pretty fascinating type things. I mean, fractals are all over the place in nature. I mean, you can't you know, look in a direction without recognizing a fractal somewhere. So why shouldn't it be in the markets? It should, and it is. So, you know, we see kind of how this fractal pattern right here, and then the market shoots up. And then this fractal pattern over here, and the market goes up a touch. And then we kind of see a similar fractal pattern right here. Maybe the market will go up. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, that's kind of what we're thinking. So we also had this triangle right here. We had another larger triangle right here, okay, and then the market fell off from there. And you could even see we were measuring A, B, C, D, E, right? So it did the A, B, C, D, E, and then it just fell right through it, like a hot knife through warm butter. So basically what it's saying is that, hey, you know, our correction isn't over yet. And obviously we know Bitcoin is, you know, still correcting. So, you know, who's to say that any altcoin is going to go ahead and go off on its own and start being super bullish? The market's not there yet. It's not that mature, that it hasn't reached that level of maturity yet. I mean, you can see here in Bitcoin, apologies, I know this is a mess, but go to my video and you'll go to my past few videos on Bitcoin and you'll understand what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, we're still down here. We're still in this large downward facing wedge or a downward facing triangle. So who's to say that that the correction should be over here for IOTA. And obviously, it makes sense if Bitcoin is continuing to correct, and that's kind of the sun that, and everything else is, you know, the moons and the planets spinning around it. Then yeah, sure, this E would be just too easy, right? E for easy. It would be too easy at that point to go ahead and just start moving up. It would make sense for it to continue to start to continue to correct, and that's kind of exactly what we saw here. We have this yellow line drawn in here, as this is kind of like, you know, almost like a beginning type of lower channel level. There was nothing really all that clean to draw a lower channel with, but this is kind of like the average of kind of the lower, you know, bodies of the candles. So, you know, we had this here, and, you know, we didn't really know what was going on with the bottom of the channel until this right here, right? And then we have this, and we have this, and now we kind of have this channel. It definitely has a taper to it, but it's, you know, it could be, you know, a very, very long triangle, but it could also just be a channel. So, you know, we're kind of treating it as both until it shows its ugly head, because it is a pretty ugly one. So next, if we scroll in here, maybe we get into here a little closer on a 1 hour basis, and you know, maybe I just move this thing off. Can I even? Okay. Sorry that took so long. I still wanted to keep it there, but I didn't want to have all that extra kind of mess, that shading. So what do we have here? We have the yellow line, and, you know, I'm just going to move that off for a second. Yeah, I'm going to move that off for a second. We have this plumb line that comes down. It just coincidentally is, you know, parallel to the E here, but it comes from this top here, and it hits here, here, you know, basically here and here. So I think there's a triangle going on here. So we have this, and then we have these bottom levels right here, right? So this possibly could be a triangle. One of the things I don't like is that the volume is not nicely declining. So since it's not nicely declining, it makes me believe that if it is a triangle, it's not such a nice one. It's not really gonna adhere to what the pattern should be for a triangle. But I leave it up there just because, you know, you need to have a lot of this information out here in front of you, especially since if you're looking at a lot of charts, you need to keep a lot of this stuff up here. At least I do. You know, I can't memorize, you know, 50, 60 charts, you know, down to every last thing that I did to them. I just can't. Maybe some people can. So the next thing I have is that, okay, fine. If this isn't a triangle, then maybe it's some sort of channel. So I then draw this bottom line right here, which just fits beautifully. So it's one of these two things. What it is, not sure. I mean, obviously we're gonna find out. In my estimation, it's probably has to do something more with a channel than it does with a triangle. But we can, you know, like I said, we're treating it both ways. Now, if the channel were to continue, you know, continue down, it would obviously continue down to this blue line. The next thing that I noticed was this. Okay, if we just start treating it like a triangle, like a large triangle, you know, then what we have is this is A, B, C, you know, this fractal's right here, and we think maybe it may go up, right? So we have C, and then this would be D if this fractal does go up, and then we have E. Now, remember before I was saying this could be an ABC. Now E, if I take this line, I extend it out, you know, depending on how long Bitcoin wants to drag this out. E, I mean, if this is D assuming it gets to it somewhere around here, you know, E could be all the way out here. Now, what does that bring? What does that bring us to? That brings us to kind of like this A level right here, and this ABC. Now, everybody knows this stuff isn't completely perfect. There's nothing to say that this couldn't wick down, right? Almost like a bear trap, right? Which would be like a bullish wick. It could kind of wick down, and then boom, we're right here at the C. So this all still looks really valid. It's all very very valid, and interesting to see kind of where it's going to play out. In the meantime, if this fractal, you know, that these fractals that we're looking at it, in the meantime, if it's actually true, then there's a good chance the market's going to run up. If the market runs up, like I said, we could possibly make that D and then possibly have the E later on. So, you know, that's really about it. What is this going to look like if the market were to actually bottom and turn around? Well, it's going to look something like this. We believe it's going to be something like this. Yeah, price somewhere around $15. I do believe it could get there. Obviously, we would need a lot of bullish sentiment, but I do believe it could get there, especially if this is a really long bullish triangle, you know, a long downward facing triangle. That stores a ton of bullish energy, a ton. It's like releasing a spring that's been loaded. Okay, it's an amazing thing to see, and it can become a huge, just, you know, basically a trampoline from which the market to jump off from. So in order for that to happen, this thing has to really extend. I mean, it's going to be somewhere out over here, which also tends to correspond to where I think the C where I think the C was going to be. So, you know, even if patterns don't immediately, you know, even if the patterns, let's say for example you draw a pattern and it doesn't immediately show that yes, that could possibly be the pattern, and it may not look completely 100% correct, it's always useful to kind of keep it around, because when you keep it around, there's innate qualities about that pattern that you predicted that has to do, especially when it comes to corrections, that has to do with the correction that you predicted. And we're gonna obviously have to get into all this on how you go ahead and figure out how much of the retracement, all that other stuff. But when you do it correctly, more times than not, the pattern may be different, but the level that you get to is nearly identical. In other words, the path may be different, but the destination's the same. Okay? You'll find that a lot in technical analysis, and especially when you start charting a lot of things. You're like, well, I didn't think it would possibly go, in other words, take that path to get there, but hey, it got to where I thought originally was going to get to. And you'll find that more times than not. So anyway, we're going to leave it there for right now. Any questions, let us know. And yeah, take a look at our Facebook group. That seems to be going on pretty well. People are communicating really well. Some great ideas there too. But in the meantime, you know, re-steam and upvote and subscribing to our YouTube channel and notification bell would be greatly appreciated. Speak to you guys in the morning.